Hey guys, this is Dan from Generation Productions, and today I'd like to talk about a person that not many people like too much. And this may take 3 or 4 parts, but we'll see how we go. We're going to try and do this in one. This is what I want to talk about is Brie Larson. Now, I do have some inside information too about how some things went down, but I'm not going to say who told me or all that stuff. That's kind of personal, but I do want to put a little bit out there so some people can get a brief understanding of what the heck was going on, and because a lot of people have been given Brie a lot of hate for all the stuff she did, but there was a reason for why she did those things that she said, and there's a reason for all that. But I want to give her congrats that she's done well for YouTube. She's been on YouTube for 1 full year now, and she's also got herself a new boyfriend. Or married or boyfriend. I'm pretty sure it's boyfriend. Alex Greenwood. But apparently a while ago she had a fallout with him, but they seem to have worked all that out, which is great. That's really, really brilliant. I'm glad they sorted things out and got back together. That's brilliant. But let's go back to that time when they had that fallout. See, this is what this whole thing was about here.
It's risen to the surface in the last week.
So when Brie did this whole thing, it was partly because she was having a dig at her boyfriend at the time. It wasn't really she was actually having a dig at the actual thing.
It's an issue that's been bubbling since really the whole time, but this issue has a solution that each one of us in this room can participate in. So earlier this week, USC Annenberg's Inclusive Initiative released findings that 67% of the top critics reviewing the 100 highest grossing movies in 2017 were white males. Less than a quarter were white women, and less than 10% were unrepresented men.
So, the reason why, or first of all, one reason that was something that was passed to her, so maybe that was, this is the thing about stuff, being an actor or an actress, you've got to try and side with what society tells you. And during this time also, she was having a fallout with her boyfriend at that time, and that's what led her to actually have a bit of a kick about the whole thing about
I am so grateful to be up here to receive this award
about this whole thing now. I'm trying to figure out
30% white men, 30% white women.
So I'm trying to find the thing, just give me a second.
So why does that matter? Why am I up here giving you statistics? Chance to see your movie and review your movie. A woman of color will have the chance to see your movie and review your movie.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Some of all the stuff she said was reasonably well, except for having a dig at the whole...
And this is also not to mention other people besides white dudes like Star Wars and would love the opportunity to do a set visit. And I'm also saying I don't hate white dudes. I'm just saying we need to be conscious of our bias and do our part to make sure that everyone is in the room. So what would it take for the critic pool to match this?
But, I was trying to figure it. Just trying to find that one bit, but, where was it?
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time.
Now, that's what I'm saying. All this sort of stuff, Brie Larson, first of all, was getting all this statistic stuff, and also she was having a very emotional, traumatic time with her boyfriend at the time, and all that sort of stuff was bottling up, and so that's the problem with when these politics and things come up. The white dude she was actually referring to wasn't just the whole be-all, end-all of the directors and everyone else in society, as she claimed, although that sort of fueled the fire. But the white dude I think she was actually more referring to was her actual boyfriend at the time. So it was almost like a side jab, a lot of all that stuff. I said about that dude didn't like what was a wrinkle in time. That probably was actually something that one of her boyfriend actually said something about it. They didn't like it. So from what I've gathered, but yeah, so that's sort of the whole thing that was going on. Every time when Brie Larson sort of had this sort of meltdown thing, it was more or less she was going through a lot of stuff, and also she was told that she was meant to become an activist. You know, in Hollywood, you're supposed to stand up for what's right, stand up for the LGBTQ, stand up for the the gay, stand up for all the female rights, and stand up for all the stand up for all the black rights, and stand up for all these rights and stuff. And that's sort of where this whole shaboom started, so to speak, where she was going a little bit, well, someone could say a bit crazy, but where it wasn't really being crazy per se, it was just she'd been through a lot. She just got her role to become Captain Marvel. So there was pressure on that. There was also pressure with the whole her and her boyfriend trying to sort stuff out, which I'm glad they have now. But back then there was lots of grinding and lots of issues going on at that time. Which also eventually, once she had sort of success with Captain Marvel, she decided to make her own YouTube channel.
Hi, I'm Brie Larson. Oh God. Hi. I'm Brie Larson. I'm an actor. You might know me from Captain Marvel, or maybe you know me from nothing. Maybe you just randomly from the algorithm clicked on this, but regardless, hello, I'm starting a YouTube channel. Why am I starting a YouTube channel? Great question. YouTube has been a place that I have learned so much. Whether it's been like how to use my printer, or it's been watching like how to be a considerate activist. This is like the place to talk about things that are important and that matter. It doesn't mean that there isn't also silly content, that there's ways for me to express myself personally, but there will also be deep conversations, anti-racist rhetoric, inclusive content. So with all that said, the following video is just me getting warmed up and feeling this out.
So first of all, let's just dive into that a little bit first. That's from her opening video about her first video. So more or less, she was sort of saying, I got a feeling the reason why she wanted to come to YouTube really was to have a dig, and maybe even help take down videos about herself. You know, when other people did not so okay videos like Mecha Random 42 and Geeks and Gamers Jeremy, and some people that had a bit of a dig at her. Maybe she actually came here to try and actually flag those videos and take those videos down. Plus, do her, as she said, do a bit of her own about the politics thing. But the politics thing, well, let's just say that's what the directors and stuff told her to say too. You know, you got to back up that side of the argument, and you got to buckle down on that. As we've seen with Disney so far, Disney's taking away gender stuff in the parks and doing all sorts of things like that. So this is what stuff that to stay for Brie Larson. Some of the stuff she's saying isn't really actually her own words, but rather the words that she's been given by, her producers or her manager or whoever's in charge. This is what she's been told she has to say, regardless whatever she feels about these topics or not. Example of that too, she was saying about this whole YouTube, maybe she didn't even really want to start a YouTube channel, who knows, or maybe it was just to mock YouTubers, I don't know. Because she even said, she learned stuff from YouTube by, with the printer and various things like that. So I've got a funny feeling it was a bit of a joke or a bit of a dig, start up. And remember, she also said she was going to get into those politics thing, and I sort of said to myself, well, YouTube here is not really a place for sharing politics per se, unless you want a lot of dislikes. but like I said, back to this thing. Brie Larson, she said for another thing about a lot of stuff, she's been rejected a lot of times throughout her whole entire life. So a lot of this rejection stuff is also probably given a thing. Like I said, a lot of the times, like I said, all those times when she was ranting and stuff like that, during that time, and also had unusual behaviour, was mainly because, like I said, there was lots of issues going on between her and her boyfriend at that time. But anyway.
And getting to talk with a lot of really brilliant, awesome creators. So, here it is.
So, that's
hello? Hi?
So, there. So, she started talking with a lot of famous and various YouTubers. But when you listen to that, like I said, I feel like she's also making fun of them a little bit. But, again, I think a lot of that comes from, you know, trying to stand up for herself. Anyway. And then realising now that was part of her persona now, this sort of persnickety attitude, she also did other things as well. I think this is before or after she made a YouTube channel, she did a thing from these guys as well.
Hi, I'm Brie Larson, and this is my Wired Autocomplete interview. The 100th Wired Autocomplete interview. So this is the first time I ever Googled myself. I didn't know it looked like this. Is Brie Larson... I feel like you don't need to Google this, by the way. Is Brie Larson a gamer? Great question. Duh. Is Brie Larson left-handed? What do you need to know? I'm actually right-handed, kind of ambidextrous, and for Captain Marvel, learned how to fight on both sides, so I can do regular and southpaw. Is Brie Larson... Well, that's awkward. Is Brie Larson Captain Marvel? I'm sorry that you have to Google that. I feel like the Disney execs are super bummed about that. Why is Brie Larson's costume green? Am I allowed to tell you that? I mean, it's kind of complicated. Like, don't you change your style as you grow and get older? It's like, whatever, man. It's the 90s. I don't know what to say. Where did Brie Larson grow up? I was born in Sacramento, but moved to Los Angeles when I was like 7 or 8, something like that. I don't really like when people ask that question, like, where are you from? Because then I say Los Angeles, and they go, it's crazy you're from Los Angeles. No one's from Los Angeles. I'm like, well, it's actually Sacramento. And they're like, no way, I'm from Sacramento. Where did you grow up? I grew up in, I'm like, I don't know Sacramento. And they're like, it's just hard, you know. Did Brie Larson go to... We're never gonna know. Go to college. No! I almost walked into a buffet on the way here. It's a wonder that I even made it into this interview. Really, why didn't I go? How do I explain this? I'm just not that good at it. I love to learn, but I'm not good at sitting still. Does Brie Larson have siblings? Yes, I do. I have a younger sister. Does Brie Larson sing? Duh! Why'd you have to Google that? Doesn't everybody sing? Would Brie Larson work out? Like, hypothetically, would I at some point? Is that like a personal attack or something? Or is that a request? Do you think I should? Yeah, I work out a lot. Thanks for asking. Okay, I'll do this side. Brie Larson.
Sorry, that's a little bit. I mean, I could go on with the video, but that's sort of the main crux of what was going on here. Now, I have studied counselling, and I really believe during this time when this video was done, Brie Larson was going through a lot of, like I said, a lot of issues, and she was becoming very insecure. But here's the thing: that insecurity originally started way back before this video was even made. Her insecurity, her feeling of being inadequate, insecure, and acting this weird way started right back when she started to try and go and get auditions and constantly being rejected. That constant rejection is why she was kind of acting all weird. And again, like I said, this was in that time when she was having a fight with her boyfriend, feeling a little bit rejected from him as well, and all that rejection and all that stuff built up and gave her a bit of a feeling of insecurity. That's the reason why she was acting weird. I mean, it sounds like she was trying to be a persnickety upstart person, which part of that was, because that's part of Brie Larson's personality, that, you know, I'm right, you're wrong, and I'm going to double down even though maybe some of the things I'm saying are a little bit not right. That's sort of where her mindset is that she is right. But then again, the reason why she believes she's right is because of what people have told her, and they've told her, look, this is what you've got to believe in, this is right, and everyone else is wrong who disagrees with this opinion. That's what many actors and actresses in today's world have to deal with. If you have any kind of other views other than what society and social and social things say, you're crazy, you're nuts, you're anything but okay if you don't agree with this crap, which I totally disagree. I mean, well, I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree. I mean, I believe myself that everyone should support and love each other, but not go overboard. Anyway, so that's what I'm saying. A lot of all this stuff that was happening with Brie was.
I'm scared. Brie Larson, dog. I'm confused. Are you asking if I have two dogs? Or
so pretty much more or less a lot of this whole questions and stuff in the interview stuff, she was super nervous and super insecure. That's the reason why you see in this whole questions and interview stuff, she's completely not okay, feeling a bit insecure, and she had a lot of insecurity issues. But like I said, this whole insecurity issues goes right back to when she was first started doing acting. So I'm going to get into that, and we're going to get into that.
Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of auditions.
Yeah, I'll sit. Wait a minute. Yeah. So we're going to get into the next bit about this whole thing about her and her auditions, but because the video space is running out, I'll close this one up and then we'll start the next one. Okay, catch us all the later, people. Bye.